Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Making Memories with Michelle, and it's Crafty Saturday. It's good to see you today. I hope everybody's got their cup of coffee, and we're ready to start crafting. Before we begin, I want to tell you that the host code for the rest of March is U29TCW6V. And anyone who's placing a $50 order is taking advantage not only of Sale-a-Bration, and it's the last week of Sale-a-Bration, so every $50 order gets a free Sale-a-Bration item, but I'll also send you 5 cards in the mail. Again, it's U29TCW6V, and I'll share that again at the end. This morning, I want to talk to you about cutting cardstock. When I was first starting with Stampin' Up! About 3 years ago, only 2 things intimidated me about making cards. One was stamping, and the second was cutting paper. And you wouldn't believe it because that's what it's all about, stamping and cutting paper. But scared me to death. And I can't tell you how many pieces of cardstock that I threw away when learning how to make cards. So I want to go over that with you today. And we're going to cut just a few basic layers. And we're going to use one of my favorite stamp sets from Sale-a-Bration. So I've gone ahead. Oh, and the other thing I'm going to do is use the outgoing in colors. So I have Flirty Flamingo, Sweet Sugar Plum, Peekaboo Peach, and Dapper Denim. All of these are going to be retiring very soon. Good morning, Sean. It's good to see you. So the first thing we're going to do is get out our Stampin' Trimmer. And I know, whoops, I have it backwards. So I went over this a little bit the last time. We have a cutting blade here and a scoring blade here. And I'm going to cut a piece of basic gray. I didn't want to use black because it's pretty harsh for what I want to do with these flowers. I'm using kind of softer colors. And since my card, I'm going to show you here, measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, we're going to make a 1/4 inch border. So if you subtract 1/4 inch from 5 1/2, you get 5 1/4. Move my scoring blade and cut it 5 1/4. And subtract 1/4 inch from 4 1/4 and you have 4. Now don't worry, you don't have to remember all these measurements. They're all going to be on my blog this morning when we're done. Then we're going to take a piece of Whisper White and subtract another 1/4 inch. So from 5 1/4, subtract 1/4, you have 5. And here, 4, subtract 1/4, and you have 3 1/4. But what if this gives me a nice 1/4 inch basic border? Okay, but what if I wanted to do a 1/8 of an inch border, just a smaller one? Well, I'm going to come back over here with this piece of cardstock, and I like to start at 5 1/8 because that gives a better focal point. So starting at 5 1/8, and this was 3 7/8. And then go back to 5 by 3 3/4. Okay, move that out of the way. And let's stamp. So remember, I told you, only 2 things intimidated me, and that was stamping and cutting paper. So I'm going to do both right here for you live today. I think that's kind of brave. I've kind of gotten over my fear of stamping, but doing it live is completely different. So this is Flirty Flamingo, and like I said, I'm using the Sale-a-Bration Lots of Lavender stamp set. And I have everything already pre-mounted. And the first thing I'm going to do is ink up in Flirty Flamingo the background of my lavender. That doesn't look very exciting until I add my outline. And I'm going to do that in basic gray, because that matches the layers that I've just cut. All right, let's see if I can do this while I have my camera right here. It's kind of hard to see. Now, somebody mentioned to me that they weren't a big fan of this stamp set because it wasn't perfect. And this stamp set is meant to look a little watercolored. And so you're going to have some pieces that may or may not look perfect. I'm inking up some leaves in Emerald Envy. Again, that's one of the in colors that are outgoing or going to retire. So get your refills soon. Leaves, and then we have a bow in Crumb Cake. I like this stamp set because it has so many layers. And then there's this one that I swear looked like a chicken foot the first time I saw it, but it's really the stems of your lavender. Okay, so let's do another one. And this time we're going to use Sweet Sugar Plum. So let me clean that stamp with the background really quick. This is always kind of a sad time of year for me. Not only is Sale-a-Bration over, and these really awesome stamp sets are on their way out, but so are the in colors. And they're like old friends. Been using them for 2 years, and it's really hard to say goodbye. Okay, so Sweet Sugar Plum again. Stamp. And grab my gray. I'm getting a new phone today. I'm really excited. I'm hoping that we'll be able to do some better videos. This one's going to be a little crooked. Oh, okay. Then come back. I've got a bow. And as long as you remember what color ink you're using, it won't matter the order. And here's my little stem. Really looks like a chicken foot. And leaves. Okay. Oh, you know what we forgot? A sentiment. The Lots of Lavender stamp set doesn't come with a sentiment. So I went over and I grabbed the Perennial Birthday, which comes from, it's archival gray, Sean. Thanks for the asking. Oh my goodness, she's laughing at me because we were talking yesterday about getting confused over, is it basic gray or archival gray? And it's actually like basic archival gray. And I'm going to stamp it, make sure I've got it going the right direction. So the sentiment here is from the Perennial Birthday. Today blooms just for you. I really like this. I think that's really, you could use that for birthday. You could use that for showers. Just about anything, right? Okay. So I'm going to make sure that I have my layers all lined up. Awesome. Okay. Now let's check my fast fuse. I just put a new roll in. Last night my fast fuse was not cooperating well, so let's see if it's working this morning. Oh, good. So when working with 1/8 of an inch, you have to be kind of careful. You want to make sure that you get all of your corners lined up. Well, not all. Get your top corner, and then look at your bottom third, and then your fourth will just line perfectly. Okay, 1/4 inches are a little easier because you have a little bit more wiggle room. I tend to work a lot with 1/8 of an inch, so actually working with 1/4 inches are harder for me because it has more room. When I first started, I only used 1/4 inches because they were much easier for me to see. And then on this card, you hear that fast fuse this morning? It sounds funny. 1/8 of an inch and 1/4 of an inch. So here we have a very simple 2-layer 1/4 inch and a very simple 2-layer 1/8 inch. This design is kind of small, and there's a lot of white space. So what would happen if we added another layer or 2 and made new frames? Well, let's take a look. So I'm going to come back to my piece of basic gray and get my trimmer back out. So let's go with 1/4 inch. So I want to start at 5 1/4. By 4. Remember, we're going to subtract a 1/4 inch. So now I want 5 by 3 3/4. That was 5, so let's take this to 4. I'm just subtracting a 1/4 inch from length and width. 4 by 3 1/2. The last one is going to be 3 3/4. My hands are cold. I was talking, and now I can't remember where I'm at. All right, so that's 3 1/2, and this needs to be 3 1/4. Three and a half. I almost cut it the wrong direction. 4 1/4. Like I said, all the directions are going to be on my blog. I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that. All right. Let's hope this works. This doesn't look right at all. 5 by 4 1/4. No. 5 by 4. 5 1/4 by 4. 5 by 3 3/4. 4 3/4. That's what I did wrong. I'm going to grab another piece of cardstock. Oh, I needed to have more coffee this morning. Okay, so we're going to measure again. So that's 3.5 by 4.5. So this needs to be 4 1/4. By 3 1/4. Okay. Let's do Peekaboo Peach. Grab my mat again. And let me show you why I chose the gray. Because if we come back and we use the black, look how dark it's going to be. And this is black archival, Sean, in case you were curious. Oh, and that didn't work very well in the middle. Maybe I should have stopped, huh? Let's add some leaves. And whoops, almost stuck that bow right in the green. That would have been weird. And a bow. Stems. And my sentiment. Stamp it off. Good thing I tested that because it would have been upside down completely. Alright, let me close these. And then we'll build that layer. So this is a 4 layer card using a 1/4 inch border. See, I still didn't cut that one right. Okay. I just happen to have that here for you to see. If you did 2 layers, 1, 2, 3, 4, all of these have a 1/4 inch border. Here you have a 4 layer with a 1/8 inch border. All of the correct measurements, don't stamp like me, follow my directions, are on the blog today. So, Sweet Sugar Plum with a 1/8 inch, Flirty Flamingo with a 1/4 inch, Peekaboo Peach with a 1/4, and Dapper Denim with a 1/8. Thanks for joining me. Next week I'll have more coffee before I start talking to you. Again, the host code for this week is U29TCW6V. Leave me a message. Share my Facebook Live post so your friends can laugh at me too. and tell me which color or which border you like best, and you might just get that in the mail next week. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you next Saturday. Bye.